Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely face.
It is the summer of 1976 in a rented beach house on the coast of California, and a guitarist is sitting on the couch in his swim trunks, kids playing outside idly holding a 12-string guitar. And almost by accident, his fingers find a chord sequence he has never played before. Dark, Spanish-sounding, haunting. He stops. He plays it again, and something in the room changes. His name is Don Felder. He does not know it yet, but he has just stumbled onto the bones of one of the most argued about songs in the history of rock. A song people would spend the next 50 years insisting was about the devil, about a cult, about a haunted hotel where you check in and never escape, and almost all of them would be wrong. We will get to what it is really about. But not yet, because here is the strange thing about Hotel California. It is a song everyone thinks they understand and almost nobody does. The rumors got so loud they buried the truth. People heard Satanism. They heard a real hotel. They heard secret drug codes hidden in every line. And the men who actually wrote it have spent decades gently telling the world it is both simpler and darker than any of that. This is not a song about the devil. It is not a song about a building. It is not even really a song about California. It is a song about a promise that turns into a trap, and the terrible moment you realize you walked into it yourself. The band is the Eagles. The song is Hotel California, and the truth about it is stranger than the myths. To understand the song, you have to start with that chord sequence on the beach, because Hotel California was born music first. Don Felder made a rough demo of that haunting progression at home on a little recording setup, and he sent cassette copies to the other members of the band hoping someone would hear what he heard. He even had a working nickname for it at first, something loose and unglamorous: Mexican reggae. That was the seed of the biggest song they would ever record, and one man heard the cassette and knew exactly what to do with it. Don Henley, the band's drummer and one of its two great voices, took that dark cinematic music and started writing words to match its mood. Working alongside Glenn Frey, Henley began building not a story exactly, but a scene. A drive, a traveler on a dark desert highway, tired, disoriented, pulled toward the shimmering lights of a place up ahead. Here is what almost nobody knows. That traveler is you, and the hotel is not a hotel. Listen to how the song is built. It does not tell you a plot. It drops you into a feeling, the feeling of arriving somewhere beautiful and luxurious and slightly wrong, where the wine flows, and the people are gorgeous, and something underneath it all is rotting. Henley has said again and again in interview after interview what the song is actually about. It is about the dark underbelly of the American dream. It is about excess. About a young band from the middle of nowhere suddenly swimming in money and fame and everything they thought they wanted in Los Angeles in the 1970s, and slowly realizing the dream had a hook in it. He has called it in plain words a song about a loss of innocence. The hotel is a metaphor. The luxury is the trap. And this is where it gets strange, because once you hear it that way, the famous lines stop being spooky and start being true. Take the one everybody quotes: "You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave." For 50 years, people have read that as something supernatural, a haunted hotel, a soul that cannot escape. But listen to what Henley is really saying. Once you have tasted a certain kind of life, the money, the fame, the excess, the version of yourself, the world falls in love with you, or you can walk away from it on paper. You can check out, but it never lets go of you. It lives in your head forever. That is not a ghost story. That is addiction. That is fame. That is the thing that happens to people who get everything they wished for. And there is another line people whisper about. They stab it with their steely knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Some heard menace, even murder. The truth is a little funnier and a lot more human. Steely Knives was a wink, a playful nod to another band of the era, Steely Dan, who the Eagles were friendly rivals with, and the beast they cannot kill. It is not a demon, it is the excess itself, the appetite, the monster of wanting more that no amount of success ever satisfies. Before we go further, one quick thing. If you love finding out that a song you have heard 1,000 times has been hiding its real meaning in plain sight, that is exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe and stay with me because the story of how the most famous part of this song almost got lost forever is coming up. And it is a good one. Now here is the detail everyone misses. For all the arguing about the words, the reason Hotel California gives you chills has almost nothing to do with the lyrics. It is the music. That chord progression Felder found on the beach is doing something quietly unusual. It sits in a minor key, which is why it feels haunted and sad. And it moves through a long winding sequence of chords that keeps you slightly off balance, never quite landing where your ear expects, always drifting forward like a road that will not end. It has a flamenco Spanish shadow in its bones. You feel unsettled and you do not know why. That is the craft. The song makes you feel trapped before Henley sings a single word about a trap. And then there is the ending. The part people who cannot name a single Eagles song can still hum. That long twin guitar duel that closes the song, two electric guitars, Don Felder and Joe Walsh, weaving around each other in perfect harmony, climbing higher and higher. It regularly gets called one of the greatest guitar solos ever recorded, and it almost did not survive. Here is where it gets strange. When it came time to record the final version, Henley wanted that ending to match Felder's original Beach House demo note for note. The feel of the demo was perfect, and he did not want a new improvised solo. There was just one problem. Felder had not written it down. By his own account in his memoir, he had played it off the top of his head months earlier and could not remember exactly what he had done. So he had to call back to his house in Los Angeles, get someone there to dig up the original cassette and play the old demo down the phone line, so he could sit there and painstakingly learn his own lost solo back piece by piece. The most famous guitar ending in the world was very nearly a thing nobody could reproduce, including the man who created it. Now watch the stakes climb. Because when this song came out, it did not just do well. It defined an entire decade. Hotel California was released in 1977, the title track of an album that would go on to sell tens of millions of copies around the world. It won the Grammy for Record of the Year. It became and remains one of the most played, most recognized songs on the planet. The kind of song that comes on in a bar on the other side of the world, and every single person somehow knows the words. The Eagles' five men who had been chasing the California dream had made the definitive song about how that dream curdles. And the irony is almost too perfect. The song about the trap of success became the very thing that trapped them. It made them so enormous, so scrutinized, so exhausted that within a couple of years the band tore itself apart. They checked out, but they could never really leave. They reunited years later and have been circling that hotel ever since. And this is why the myths never mattered. Because the reason people invented stories about the devil and haunted hotels was that they could feel something dark in the song and needed to explain it. They were right that something was haunting them. They just had the wrong ghost. The real haunting is much closer to home. It is the quiet horror of getting everything you ever wanted and discovering it is a room you cannot check out of. This is not a song about a place you can visit. It is not a song about a decade you had to live through. It is not even a song about a famous band. It is a song about you, about the shiny thing you are chasing right now, the one you are sure will finally make you happy, and the small, cold voice that wonders what it will cost you once you have it. You have felt that. Everyone who has ever wanted something too much has felt that. That is the beast, and it is still alive. So what do you actually walk away with after all of that? Three things. First, Hotel California is not about Satan or a cult or a real hotel. No matter how many times you have heard otherwise, by the band's own steady account, it is an allegory about the dark side of the American dream, about excessive fame and the loss of innocence. The spookiest thing in it is not a demon, it is us. Second, the craft. The song traps you with music before it ever traps you with words. A haunting minor progression that never quite resolves a Spanish shadow in the chords. And one of the greatest twin guitar endings ever played, an ending its own creator once had to relearn from a cassette over the phone. The feeling comes first. The meaning sneaks in behind it. And third, the one that stays with you. Be careful what you check into. The Eagles wrote a warning about the trap of getting everything you want, and then got everything they wanted and lived out the warning in real time. That is the deepest truth in the song. Some doors are easy to walk through and impossible to walk back out of. And most of the time, by the time you understand that, you are already inside. So let me ask you, What is the song you were absolutely certain you understood until the day you found out what it was really about? Tell me down in the comments, because in the end there is no hotel. There never was. There is only the thing you wanted so badly you stopped noticing the door lock behind you. And a warm voice on the radio still trying 50 years later to warn you before you check in.